failed. The branding is still up. Son of a. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. Hello and welcome. I'm General Griswold Gaius Grimm of the First Live Regression Protocol. This is the Griswold Grimm stream. He does live streams. You are no longer a part of the audience. You're now part of a hive mind of a live stream. It's an egregoric thing. Shenandoah Valley card of the show. 3 of hearts. Welcome. We'll get you some savings throws. Today we have several cards to go through. The first of which is this glowy MFer is after my job. And we'll be going over that today. And Voltron is apparently on here too. Remember, Embody,
there is no agency. We want
what's best.
This is Paul, and just a little quick video.
All these forces they don't understand. The fact that there's war coming, all these things, they don't even know what they're doing. And yet, they're already playing the game.
That's what it's all about.
That our tools were small enough and around long enough that we could actually play with them and experiment with them and get to know them and learn to think outside the box. Is that everybody there was thinking outside the box because we'd all come from outside the box. Everybody talks about thinking outside the box. They go inside the box and tell everybody in there that they should learn to think outside the box. If you really want people to think outside the box, go find people who are from outside the box, because those people can't think anywhere but outside the box. That's where we were, all of us to one extent or another in those days. It's not where we are now.
There's a reality that you and Paul touch on when it comes to like people getting what they need versus what they want. That you and Paul kind of see pretty clearly, and I'm trying to learn how to see that way too.
Well, that's my faith in the arenic nature of the agency. I think I meant the agentic nature of the arena, actually. Welcome, everybody. We're going to do some savings throws against mind control. One of the few places on the internet you can get those is here on the Griswold Grimm streams. Like, share, subscribe. You get to choose between survival, social, wisdom, lost our wisdom, or heart as the basis for your savings throw. I roll the die. If it's over 10, you take half damage from the mind control and the rest of the show, and this is some pretty high-level sorcery. Now that you've had plenty of time to think about it, survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Survivalist coming in with an 18 today. An 18 today. Socialist, that's a 10. That's a 10. Lovers of wisdom, also a 10. It's weird how often they pair up. There's a 10 for the lovers of wisdom. Hard folks, congratulations. You get +3 to next stream saves. You got a natural 20 here today. And Indigo Kids, just the OA. Just the OA. Okay, all right. There's the savings throws for the show. What else do we do? A little grifting.
Listen to him. I think he is telling us the truth. That is indeed what he wants. Those of you who are sort of sniffing for duplicity or grift or dishonesty, I don't smell any of that here. I think he.
Well, it is here. It's up top on the left there of the Hive Mind chat. Keeping kayfabe is our new grift called Dog Food is Expensive. There's been a dog placed under my care through horrible circumstances, which he barked at. So the new grift is dog food. And the link's up at the top. The link's up at the top. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. As you can see from the thumbnail, this is a Saturnday Seshat. And as such, we'll see what's going on. Slacks out there. Tom picked the wisdom. That you guys got 10. Mills, Sheepgoat, and Tom. All with the solid 10 there. And West Coast refugee. I don't know. If you're emerging, did you make your saves? Good enough. Okay, now. Since today's stream is well, I don't know. Maybe we should do something else first. But since today's stream is a Saturday Seshat is a reference to the cannabis plant. As such, we should do a little disclaimer. What? Yes, we're doing a disclaimer. No, yeah, it's true. Here it is from our good friend, the Human Uberman.
Okay, so if someone smokes cannabis or they ingest cannabis, very rapidly gets into the bloodstream, and the components that are psychoactive get into the bloodstream and are immediately able to access neurons and other cells and start having these effects of parking at those endogenous cannabinoid receptors.
The word endogenous means native to the body. Your body's in there already. You don't have to install special receptors for it. They're in there already, and the cannabis goes right in the hole, right in those holes.
And impacting the signaling between neurons, which leads to the subjective effects of cannabis, including THC and CBD. So let's talk about what those different subjective effects are. Again, this is going to vary depending on whether or not people are ingesting sativa varieties of cannabis. Just to remind you, those tend to be elevated mood, alertness, talkativeness. People who take sativa varieties tend to talk a lot more than they would otherwise.
Would that perhaps be if you use that old personality system, the MBTI, and you were an INTP, and it made you more talkative? Didn't you qualify as like an ENTP? Does it make you from an introvert to an extrovert? Inquiring minds have figured it out. Blue Church card of the show. The Jack of Spades. Maybe we'll be digging into something here. Welcome, everybody. This is our Saturday Seshat. That's what the AI spit out for Egyptian lady made of cannabis jewelries.
Remember, there is no agency. We want what's best.
Oh, hey, it's Marcacino. What's up? Look, whatever that means. Welcome, everybody. This is one of our first card of the show is this this glowy is after my job, and the evidence we have for it came forth from Pastor Paul's interview with this and that's not it. That's it. That's it. So let's put it up there on the screen, Grim, and show him where you get this notion. What? Look at this outfit this guy is in. Isn't that a suspicious outfit? They're very suspicious. Very suspicious. Anyway, make it bigger. There we go.
That I usually just sort of do a random
For the other people.
dig into your story, but that's been dug into pretty well. So I have a bunch of questions that, of course, we'll have time for you too. So really appreciate you coming on, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about creating a new blog called "Painting Myself into a Corner." Then I think I was talking to my wife. I said, I think this is my job now. Like, this is just what I'm doing, which is great. It's a wonderful job to have.
Yes, it is a wonderful job to have, but I already have it, sir. I already have it. Sorry about that.
Is everything all right in here?
Yes, Nanny. Working on it. Tune up. Working on it. Tune up. Tune up. Tune up. Tune up. Tune up. Working on it. Tune up. Tune up. Tune up. Tune up.
All right, so like I said, I got a lot of cards for today's show. There's this one and this one. The back counts as a different one. There's that one. That one's going to be fun. But like most of these two are these two are mostly just timestamps of the Jordan Hall highlights and character clipping we're going to go over in today's stream. What did you set yourself up for, sir? I don't know. But we're going to do it here today, and we're hoping that you're feeling virtually not alone as we do it. But the first note on this card here is Baxter's Pound of Flesh. And that's right. Let's see. You should bring up his channel. Okay, hold on. All right, I found it. It looks like this if you get there successfully. Christian Baxter underscored Whitey, but it's not CB underscore Whitey. You have to spell out his whole name with the @channel thing. As you can see here, he's spoken to that Jordan Hall guy twice, and also to James Cortides and our very own Luke Thompson's. But I haven't watched those. He did one on me, I saw, and he got his pound of flesh. There's been a recording of me speaking to him and telling him things, and he will apparently release it one day with that indigo, so totally straight high thumbnail title highlight there. That's you can start pestering for it. You said, "Where's the convo with Grim, man? You put out 1,800 videos a day. That's the one we want to see." And when you're pestering Christian Baxter about the unreleased video footage of myself, behold, special shout out to the Fraternal Regiment embodying narcissistic sociopathy. Also remind him that he owes us a hog farm entry. And the hog farm, as you all know, is the Hand of God Field Agent Requisition Manual. And what we need is the Baxter Special. And what it is going to be a detailed what equipment is in his masterful studio. So that, like, if an agent needs a podcasting studio, they can just order a Baxter Special from the Hog Farm Manual. We're assembling the manual now. It's going to take some time. All right, so should we get to it? I don't know. There's only been 4 comments. I mean, and none of them have been a super chat, I bet. Oh, look, Mark Parker's here. Underscore Whitey. Yes. No, it's true, man. I was using that way before he showed up. Way before, and it kind of tells you who YouTube is for. Who YouTube is for. Okay. Agency deck card of the show is the 10 of diamonds. The 10 of diamonds from our good friends over there. Okay, and then man, yeah, let's just get started. You have a timestamp, there's a reason for it. Let's move on. Okay. No, because you gotta do the show the thing. Okay. All right. So the next thing on this card is character clips loom, and that's because, like, what we're going through on this special slicer dice of the Jordan Hall's PVK thing is I'm pulling out what I would consider character clips, and we have this whole section over on the Broken Clock Tower Discord, which I'm showing you now. It's not, see, you come in at the top, right? You go down, here's the voice channel, shut up, community grounds disclaimer. That's where you can always find out. This is the one you should not mute if you don't want to miss a thing, like an Aerosmith song. But way down here at the bottom, as if I was trying to gather intelligence agency clips, there's this character clips section. And in which, like, over time, people make appearances and become cast of this ensemble television show that we call, and as such, it's convenient when you have, like, when a person goes on somebody else's show and says something very revelatory about the nature of their own character. You clip that and you throw it in that little department, and then one day we can loom it out. So, like, if a new agent comes in, we can just say, all right, you got to deal with that guy. Go check the character clips. You can see what you're dealing with. And then as such, this clip from 4 minutes and 25 seconds in this particular, close enough.
So, my arc in technology and technology entrepreneurship actually always already happened within a concept of.
actually already always happened. That is some loaded language if I've ever heard it.
Entrepreneurship actually always already happened within a concept of engagement with culture and culture formation. So it was not ever an end in itself, but was a means to an end in roughly two very simple ways.
Now, see, if you just keep listening, you'll be distracted by the two very simple ways, but the approach was always a means to an end.
By itself, but was a means to an end in roughly two very
of cultural social engagement.
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast magic missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am though, if you'd listen. I'm casting magic missile. Why are you casting magic missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
You'd think I'd take the time to just edit all three of those into a single clip I could play with one press of the button. Dunji says he feels like he already watched this episode, and that may be true because you see, when you operate as an indigo thief, a lot of the times you're working on a spiral, and you revisit the same 3 or 4 things from different perspectives. Yes, but in this, so this is going to be different, but the same, maybe. Thanks to the Shadow Cabal for making it all possible. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. In other news, I've just remembered we have this thing coming up called the TLC VNA Convomania, which was named by Rascal in response to this video. From the road, the TLC Donking Con, and she recommended the title TLC VNA Convomania, and that's what we're going with. Guy the Wrestler fella submitted the Deliberation Deathmatch as the title for our next event, which has yet to be scheduled. But no, it's going to be the TLC Convomania, and I think there's this game where we pick, like, why don't you put 3 people that you'd like to see in the TLC Convomania that you think are TLC, and we'll see, like, what that matches and conversation Convomanias we can make based off the people you name as people you'd like to see in it. Say, look, the crowd wants you to do it. Would you come do it with us? We'll do that. We'll see who shows up. It'll be a nice, fun one, I bet.
Ducks eat bread.
They do. They like it.
All right, let's go back to the clipping of the thing where we're doing the let's power through during the Saturnday Seshat. Oh, that's the not no. There we go. 7:55. 7:55. Okay, I can do that. Oh boy, everything's so hard right now.
And I remember having a sense of dread in terms of, like, almost feeling the doom that was baked into that. Like, when culture is out of integrity, it's doomed. And I can remember feeling it very clearly. And so from that point forward, as I grew up, I noticed a recurring cycle of what can be done about this. Is it real? Yes. Increasing the yes, obviously increasing the yes. And what can be done about it? And so around probably somewhere in college, actually, as I was dealing with things like Marshall McLuhan and the relationship, actually Marx and then McLuhan, who both have a point about the more fundamental or the deeper layer that technology plays in terms of culture formation, that was a lever. That if I was in a position, because that was a lever. That if I was in a position, because I noticed that I happened to have a facility with technology that I seem to be naturally oriented towards the cutting edge and seem to have some characteristics that would make me also available to be in the kind of in the mold of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, who are the archetypes at that point.
No fur here. Sharks don't have fur.
And next up in a timestamp of things I thought was worth your time. Okay. 2111.
As things would continue, now my wife is a elementary school teacher, and she is just regularly horrified at what her children know.
Yeah. Well, and even there's so much going on there. So I would strongly advise no one to have their child go to a movie probably until mid to late adolescence. And I mean that neurologically, not content. Just the physical experience is unhealthy.
Yeah.
I bet you that's somebody who's done the research. Slacarius scoring a +2 to next stream savings throws with an all of this has happened before reference. Well done. Well done.
Full high school culture that we had received, the culture that I was
maybe it was this part.
As cultural narratives. That cultivation of something like what I've been calling transcendent mind. Part of what happens when you really begin to play role-playing games and begin to notice how subcultures operate and begin to notice how culture itself is effectively at the end of the day a role-playing game. By the way, you're about to get the game A, game B generator function.
Yep.
That creates a very powerful step. So the at around 18 or in high school, there was.
It's this thing where if you just keep listening, you might have missed that. But that is what I call the Dungeon Master mind, which means I can probably actually work with this guy and Slack and Nate on some fascinating and exciting things. Right. What else did you have timestamps? 2554. Like the whole hog farm thing. It was exactly that.
Yeah. So then what was interesting was that I noticed that I had chosen to do that. It was no longer penitentiary. I could do other, and I could leave at any time. So then I had a quandary, which was, and by the way, from a lineage perspective, honor plays a profound role in my sense of values. To be honorable, I had to actually fully commit. Okay. So that was like a 180-degree flip from my previous school experience. In college, I was all in.
Do you see why I call these things character clips? Like that is a clip of at least his stated character, right?
Well, and I chose it. So then
I might as well do that.
Yeah. So then what was interesting was that I noticed that I had chosen to do that. It was no longer penitentiary. I could do other, and I could leave at any time. So then I had a quandary, which was, and by the way, from a lineage perspective, honor plays a profound role in my sense of values. To be honorable, I had to actually fully commit. Okay. So that was like a 180-degree flip from my.
And the desire to be honorable is there. Oh, isn't that sweet? Milan says, millions of people live in Miami, and I feel less alone when I'm on the internet in this VNA space. Surprising for sure. This goes to my thesis that think we're alone now, but we're together. It's you got to write papers to do a thesis, man.
I'm not a cat.
Here, how about some nice brandings? LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay. Harris in the house. Hey, Ups, how's it going there? Look, you made the bubble. Okay, where was I? Oh, we were doing this. Okay.
I didn't like have a model of Princeton. I met people who went to Princeton. Oh, okay. That's the aristocrats go to Princeton. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Kind of smart people go to Stanford. It was clear. Stanford, they're definitely smart. There's no question. Yale is smart in a slightly different zone and a little bit more scary. Like, okay. And I sampled that. That was useful. And also there was something like, I can play at this level. There was nothing about that level that was even the least. It was actually weirdly similar to the previous eras where it didn't take long to figure out how to just sort of like do the things necessary to get the highest level and without a lot of work. So I actually also had
And this is also what we're doing here. I think, okay, for some reason that you thought was worth noting. What about the next one there? It says it's here.
In my path.
Yeah, in fact, you can even say there's a category of all things that can be hacked in that fashion. All right, and anything that where there's an underlying generator function that is finite, and you can use the things that it produces to reverse engineer the generator function. And once you've then mapped the generator function, you basically have owned, or P0NZED, that architecture. Yeah, I learned that in general and noticed a sense of
that in general. I think that's it. That's an algorithmic function you might not have applied to your own line of thinking that could be convenient and useful. Right? Yeah, that's why you clipped it. Okay.
And you have also figured out, unlike the penitentiary process of grade and high school, you have figured out that you can actually ride these other systems and they will take you where you want to go, even if these other systems are ostensibly pointing in other directions. It doesn't matter to you. You're riding them to achieve maybe even something that you can't fully articulate yet.
Right, that's right.
But you have a sense that you are going in a direction and you are riding these systems.
Yeah, that's
this point. At this point, I particularly wondered to myself, what is he doing here? We saw in the beginning when Pastor Paul said that he was making the rounds. I don't need to play the clip. And he's in the TLC doing this TLC. This is his job now, and why? And if this is what he was doing in his previous life, wouldn't he be doing that here? And what does he see that you don't? And what does Clara see? And what does
Are you sick and tired of being asked about the TLC? When you look at this corner, do you not even think that it's a thing? Well, if you're like me, raise your hand. Because I got what you need. You need Telos tea. That's right. Grab yourself a nice hot cup of Telos tea. Now, Telos tea. It's not a thing.
Welcome, everybody. This is our Saturnday Seshat. As if one day only doing it on Saturday would be a responsible level of use I achieved. Also, we're running some of these clips.
Or transmitter systems of the brain and body. What we know for sure is that CB1 receptors are present on an enormous number of different neurons and brain structures and neural circuits, so that the sativa varieties that act as sort of a stimulant, making people feel happy, because in general, they do tend to elevate mood, at least at certain dosages. Talkative, tend to make people feel like they have ideas that are interesting, that they might want to share, tend to narrow their context, so tend to increase focus. This is something.
That's it. It seems like I have ideas I think I might want to share, and that you're watching makes it seem like that's true too. Like it makes it seem they're worth sharing, or at least creating a space in which they are shared. I don't know.
It's not often discussed about cannabis, but it can, especially the sativa varieties, can increase people's level of focus to particular things, something they're watching or something they're doing, or music allows them to narrow their sense of focus. That's going to occur.
Like maybe he did it when he was watching the thing, and that's why these clips that stood out, like the one at 3848.
In a place of authentic authority, a gentleman named Bill Otterson identified me, spied me, and said, "Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to pay you effectively nothing, and you're going to work for me for a year. But I'm going to introduce you to entrepreneurship and the entrepreneur."
Yeah. The pay will be the network.
The pay will be the network, and
the pay is the network for what we're doing here. Later this afternoon, we'll be doing a video walkthrough of this house because apparently it's going to become a TLC missionary work project. See Pastor Paul's membership section for more details.
Something like the experience of getting to know something about this, which was great. I mean, I'm tremendously grateful to him, and he passed away not too long later. Real fondness for him and everything he was about. So then
oh yeah, that was the part where I said he's a Sith Lord, and the people at the higher levels are supposed to see you and lift you up, apparently, and that's how it works at their flotilla.
I believe that if everyone sees what just a few people become when they wholly embrace their gifts, others will awaken.
Hey, Hezzy, we need a blade. How is that different from what this is? Hey, sheep goats here, everybody. Okay, and then yes. Oh. Well, good news is we made it through this first card, except for it says Voltron in the middle. I'm not sure that we're at the Voltron moment. I think it may be later. So meanwhile, we only got so many room for bad influences around this place, Hezzy. Only so many. But you remember how when you first appeared, we made a big deal out of it, and I warned you that they would suck you dry? Similarly, there's this cat who's made an appearance in most of this Saturnday Seshat show that has been this motherfucker is after my job. And we've made it through a whole card of timestamps, but unfortunately for everyone who doesn't like it, we still have a whole card to go. The next of which, however, is this one lovely clip at 47:33.
Things out. Meeting, I'm like, wow, they're kind of like dysfunctional and crazy, and yet we're going, like we're knocking things out. So people who are less dysfunctional and crazy might actually be able to be more effective.
This part, that part, this part. Let's do it one more time.
Like, wow, they're kind of like dysfunctional and crazy, and yet we're going, like we're knocking things out. So
this reminded me of the Voltron days of the TLC. I don't know, Chezi I think the Voltron days of the TLC were before your time. You'd have to recognize a bald man. You'd have to recognize a bald man to know the Voltron days. But it's like that also ties into this. This finally good, hot darn. The Ronin Warrior VVK armor was an insight similarly to the. It was reminiscent of the Voltron because the Ronin Warriors was a different cartoon show, but they got these divine armors that had 4 basic principles. And similarly, I think if you'll see on the back of the board here, it says Chakric Egregore. Virtually embodied. Chakric Egregore virtually embodied. And that's kind of a Voltron we have going on here. You can get your cozened into but it's 7 instead of 4, like the Ronin Warriors. But you can get a set of armor that's based on Indigo from maybe this channel, and then you could get a set of armor that's based on Wisdom from VVK's channel, and it's like a menu of our chakric egregoric virtually embodiment ecology of practices, and also reminiscent of the Rainbow Warrior program, also found on the Discord. Card. All right, only Deadwood Grifter services, and the rest of these timestamps to go. You didn't load enough branding for a stream this long. Well, some people didn't see it earlier. Wait. That's unfortunate. But now, since we're time traveling, I can upload it now. Right after. Sitting here on my phone. The internet is where I roam. And my chat is in the zone. I think you'll be not alone. The devices that I own reading clips with the flow. As a medium of gold, this corner's now my home. In what may be his first... No, I've seen Sans Rescue before. Raccoon. Sans Raccoon. It's not Sans Rescue. Your life is Sans Rescue. That's Sans Raccoon. He says, Grizz has powers like Bigfoot. Becomes blurry at will. That might be true. Saberhagen Von Dutch says, what's happening, Captain? Captain is right. You see, right now I'm playing a game. I'm playing a game called LARPgate, in which I'm a ship captain, except the ship is not a ship, it's a YouTube channel. Because like when you appear above the waves on the channel, you're above water. And when you're offline, when you're not broadcasting, you're underwater in the Discord submarine. And but I'm a captain, and what happened is all these channels, we kind of float together. It's like in ants in the flood, right? We'll be like, hey, let's grab onto each other and try not to let too many people stay under for too long. And we'll see if we can get the ladies and the babies to safety. And so similarly, we've come online in our attention prison cells on the YouTube attention farm, where we were spending our time alone looking at the screen, but like we were all doing it. And I like, in the comments and other channels and talking to each other, we started seeing each other, and so this flotilla thing. And in this game, this weird character named Jordan Hall has come onto the scene and been bouncing around all the different ships. And so, since it's a potential threat, I'd like to highlight for people to come onto my ship, like the character traits we can observe in his appearances, and maybe he's not a bad guy, and that it's all part of the game. It's on this side of the LARP gate. I hope that helped. That's what's happening. And we're calling it the Saturnday Seshat stream because it's empowered by Indigo. Powered by Indigo.
I believe that if everyone sees what just a few people become when they wholly embrace their gifts, others will awaken.
And special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. Now, run through that again. Where were we? Pick up where you left off and go. Oh no! I was gonna bring up the fact that there's this other cat floating around now, Brendan Graham Dempsey, who similarly come onto the scene. I haven't followed him at all. This is him over on Grail Country, which also premiered today. Here's the 33rd minute.
To me, but it won't make sense to you. And then we seem to be stuck in a kind of what's called the micro narrative, and there is no narrative that we can share between us. And if you pursue this, which we have over the past 30 years, you wind up getting the breakdown of a certain kind of social cohesion. You get a fragmentation between different communities of people who then eye each other askance because they don't believe that they can actually communicate with one another, and that their lived experience is even understandable by other groups of people. So you wind up.
I heard the keyword magic phrase lived experience, and it set off alarms. I just want to get through all these cards because that's how I get through a show, as I go through all the cards. And the one thing on this card is called Deadwood Grifter Services. And I'll just say about that, we might have to come back to it, but let me just say specifically, it's because while this Voltroning we're doing, that's why you wanted to go back to what the guy said. Okay. Never mind. Let's do what I wanted to do.
Detail. So let's see, what did I learn? So one thing I learned was that, maybe not entirely correctly, but this isn't as hard as it looks. Okay, so the senior people who I'm meeting, I'm like, wow, they're kind of like dysfunctional and crazy, and yet we're knocking things out. So people
see, as we're dysfunctional and crazy, but still capable of knocking things out. That is why this Deadwood Grifter Services occurred to me. You see, as a grifter, I can knock things out, but as a dysfunctional, I can't necessarily do what I'm supposed to do with what's been grifted. For example, I recently conducted a very successful broken keyboard grift and did not buy a replacement keyboard. And I was thinking what we really need as a potential Deadwood Grifter Services is somebody who holds the money and buys what the thing was for, rather than like food and what the other things. So that's that. There's that's one of the potential Deadwood Grifter Services. If you're just a person watching YouTube, this is really insider baseball stuff, like the character clips and the hog farm manual. You can just let it roll over you like I didn't say anything at all. And now on the Saturnday Seshat stream, we're gonna finish out the rest of these cards and call it a day. 4733. You just did. Oh yeah, but we still haven't milked this clip for all it's worth.
Who are and crazy, and yet we're knocking things out. So people who are less dysfunctional and crazy might actually be able to be more effective.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see. Doing what is right for me is lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
They're already dead. It's just it'll take some time to play out.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the next thing. And I learned a lot, tons and tons and tons about the actual how do these kinds of waves unfold over time. How does it go from what would be sort of a Persian firstness through its developmental stages?
Oh, there it was. For the next 10 seconds, we'll take emojis for that. What the hell is Persian firstness? Please leave a replay comment that I don't. The reference I missed it. It's for smart people, I guess.
Just from what I used to call like the guys in t-shirts with pizza stains to the sweater vests. These are the VCs. To the guys with Lambos or private jets. Like there's an arc that it follows, and that is the layer of the kayfabe layer cake that is most appealing to what I would assume is one of the pizza shirt stain guys. If this guy is not a malfeasant character and is at all honorable and legit, then this is like a little grifter's dream come true. For example, let's see if you can tie it back in the Saturnday Seshat. Let's see. Maybe it's this part.
By activation of CB1 receptors in the so-called prefrontal cortex, which is just behind the forehead. And the prefrontal cortex acts as a strong modulator of so-called limbic circuitry and other circuitry that is more stress-oriented. The way to...
By the acquisition of... It's not satiating. It's appetitive.
That's right.
And so it drives you forward. And humans would look forward. Animals would look forward as if something was about to appear that they wanted to have appear.
Frontal cortex is actually part of the dopamine reward system. Different selves are being projected into the future.
It's increasing the...
Think about the stress and limbic circuitry, such as the amygdala, which many people have heard about, is that they aren't really circuits for fear and stress. They are circuits that are constantly evaluating one's own internal state, heart rate, et cetera, and what's happening externally. And sorry to say, but the default of those systems is to detect danger, the sort of threat detection systems. And then the prefrontal cortex largely acts as a brake on those systems, sort of like the reins pulling back on a steed of horses that would otherwise just kind of take off. And so the sativa varieties tend to increase CB1 activation in the prefrontal cortex and in other circuitry that then leads to a...
All right, that was the good. It was good you got the bit on the prefrontal cortex, but what you're looking for in the moment, in reference to the Jordan P. Hall thing, Green Hall thing, is this
suppression of those circuitries. So we have kind of a seesaw effect here, where the same compound is increasing mood and alertness and focus in the prefrontal cortex and is decreasing stress and threat detection in the amygdala. And that's one of the reasons why, especially the sativa varieties of cannabis, allow people to enter these states of focus. Some might even say flow, although I don't want to go into what flow states really are. That's for a different discussion, and it's very poorly defined as it is. And I certainly don't.
So that does this powerful combination with this part here.
The first over time. How does it go from what would be sort of a Persian firstness through its developmental stages, from what I used to call like the guys in t-shirts with pizza stains to the sweater vests. These are the VCs. To the guys with Lambos or private jets. Like there's an arc that it follows. And
now see, because I'm the type of guy who has what I call the Marissa Tomei project. And now, because everything is all tied together, here's how it works out. It's going to be best described in the Paintball for Jesus book, where one of the characters hears a story of an alternate timeline, which is this life, because in the book, the character is me in the alternate timeline where I was VC funded to do the Marissa Tomei project. And the Marissa Tomei project is a beautiful, beautiful pyramid scheme. where like a person joins in for like $1,000. You have to buy in, make money. You buy in for $1,000, right? And then you get these receptor things they put on your brain. And then when you do the cannabis, it measures the difference in your brain waves for your various stimuli. You report, like, I was also having coffee, I was also doing this. And then you do periods of fasting. But we're really highlighting what strain does what to the way your engine runs. And it's called the Marissa Tomei Project, because I remember in a Mandela event, apparently, part of her testimony and my cousin Vinny was like that she grew up where people, the grandfathers, could tell what a car was by the sound of the motor running as it drove by. And similarly, I think we can do that with brainwaves and the EMGs. And meeting somebody like this guy who supposedly knows all of these people that makes things happen, such as in this clip, maybe 5633.
Of, okay, we're gonna nail it down in this walled garden, and everything's gonna be, we're gonna.
Oh no, I was wrong. The clip I'm looking for mysteriously was at 10101. 10101. Like not being an idiot. 10101.
They work like this. I'll give you two examples. I happen to have arrived early to an event in Aspen. So I was sitting at a table, and some other folks who had arrived early were there. One of them was a CEO who had recently sold his company. One was sort of a McKinsey guy in charge of something. Another was a banker guy. And they began talking about telecom. I'm not kidding you. In a space of an hour, they had come up with a plan for this new CEO to become the CEO of a company that they were going to create and fund for the purposes of buying multi-billion-dollar telecom assets from British Telecom, Spanish Telefonica, and Deutsche Telekom to form into a new company. And we're talking about in the order of billions of dollars. And these three guys, over a span of about an hour, sketched out that plan, and I discovered ultimately executed on it. So that's, and if you,
that kind of thing, to know that kind of thing happens and can happen is just so enticing. Let's jump back to the important thing for the due dilettantes out there in the crowd.
90% of them, they work like this. I'll give you two examples. I happen to have arrived early to an event in Aspen. So I was sitting at a table, and some other folks who had arrived early were there. One of them was a CEO who had recently sold his company. One was sort of a McKinsey guy in charge of something. Another was a banker guy.
The McKinsey guy in charge of something. I'm pretty sure John Oliver has a hootenanny about those folks. Welcome. This is the Saturnday Seshat. We're almost through. Really.
Slime! What? It's a river of slime!
We have back at 4944.
Major phase of my life was and way to say, for example, I don't know, pottery isn't, right? Music is actually not ultimately an economic function. It's a political and legal function. And so as the technological piece, we were their business model was dead, their distribution model was dead, their production model was dead. Like, it was clear that we had already won the war. And in a matter of single-digit years, everybody would be pivoting to what we were doing, except they had the ability to control judges and politicians, judges and politicians.
Similarly, the dominant left has gained the ability to control judges and politicians by going after their hearts through their children, but that too is the plane on which we operate, and we too can do the heart flipping in the spiritual warfare game of Othello. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal, so say we all. And I made this clip I made this timestamp for some reason.
But music isn't just another industry.
Nope. Well, we can also invoke the powers and principalities if we want to go.
Yes, we can.
Because that's at the very center of that layer cake, or that nested spheres. And you said earlier that technology didn't create music, and of course, God created music as one of the, sort of the central sacraments, or whatever, liturgies probably is the best way. Central liturgies. And so the powers and principalities are deeply interested in being able to make sure that music is controlled.
Yes.
And therefore, all the rest of the layers then participate in that with, industry, as it usually does in our culture, bearing a heavy load because mammon is such a powerful tool in that force.
Yeah, that was a worthwhile bit. I think it speaks for itself. What's it, 5633?
Of, okay, we're going to nail it down in this walled garden and everything's going to be, we're going to, we now, in facing the god of technology, the other gods are going to have to do a deal so that they can, they cannot let this dragon of technology completely tear up the world that they have fashioned for themselves.
Yeah, something like they did a deal with Behemoth so as to avoid the consequences of Leviathan.
Yes.
Another one of those, hey, do you guys know that story, the reference he's making, the Behemoth and Leviathan one? Can we talk about that in the comments maybe? And finally, in our final this glowing motherfuckers after my job stream here on this Saturnday Seshat, this one here. Now, as you can see at this point in the broadcast, he's disrobed. He's taking it off there. So I didn't make it through the other half of this thing yet. But we do have this part. We do have this part right there.
In all our searching, the only thing we've found that makes the emptiness bearable is each other.
That people at some point will take vengeance. But as a Christian, he says, don't be about vengeance. And why don't be about vengeance? Because the truth is, if you are about vengeance, well, that will consume you. And it also makes you weak, and it also puts you at the disposal of others. It never stops.
Vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Vengeance is mine, says the Lord, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay.
Oh, I was stretching and it was, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. We got the one final clip though. It's at 5811. There it is.
And a return to that story of higher horizons. Right? So in just the same way that I had climbed from small town Texas boy to Harvard to take a look around, I now found myself invited into elite institutions and, elites, billionaires and Nobel Prize winners and heads of state and what would be the other one? Captains of industry. And so I did, went to various places.
And now it's worth his time here. That's interesting. Okay, and that's all the clips. But that particular one leads me into, he's well known to have associated with our good friend Taubeard, who they call Schmackty, apparently, who I love for this.
A couple of people that are amongst the most powerful people in the world in terms of high finance have basically quoted almost all of this to me verbatim in conversations as how they see the world. And they said, either, like basically apex predators define the topology of the space. And so either you're the apex predator or somebody else is, but the apex predators are going to be the one who run shit. And if you don't like that, you just won't be one of the ones who run shit. One of the guys said pretty directly, all animals are either predators or prey. And predators don't feel bad when they kill prey. And if you feel bad when the prey humans die, then you just said what kind of animal you are, and that animal doesn't run the world. And of the predators who don't make it to alpha apex, they also aren't the ones whose genes really go and run the world. And if you don't like the way that alpha apex are, it won't make any difference because they'll still be the ones who run the world. You just won't be part of it.
I liked him a lot for that. That was from the Chris Williamson show back in the day when it was the Wisdom Something Something podcast. This has not been a fun and happy Saturday, Seshat. I admit that. But if for those of you participating at a more than I just watch the people on YouTube and see what the smart people say level, these developments in the shows, in the streams as we proceed to LARPgate Year 4 are fascinating to me, at least. And this character here who's made his appearance, friend or foe, fed or what's not a fed, the shaper or fed, I don't know. Blue Church card of the show, eight of spades, for that's what we should make of him, maybe, if the cards meant anything. I don't know. But this has been the Saturnday stream. Thanks for making me feel virtually not alone. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying your time with us. Oh, look, it's Buddy. But hey, maybe we'll get donuts if you show Buddy. Okay. Whoa. Hold the phone. We got to do it over because Mark Jackson over here. He says, can you give us another magic missile? It always makes us laugh. Look at that. His name's not even green. He doesn't have the fancy membership badge or anything, even though people give away gift memberships on this channel, and he could have had one if you were around enough. And now he wants another magic missile.
I'm attacking the darkness.